folks. Welcome to the meeting number 211 of Bright Beginning Toastmasters Club. I'm Anshuman Mishra and I'm going to be the Sergeant at Arms for a club today morning. The mission of a Toastmasters Club is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self confidence and personal growth. To ensure this, please follow certain ground rules. Please ensure that all the secondary devices are on silent or switched off mode. We have 10 seconds to check. Please speak responsibly about religion, sex, or politics in your speeches. Use the feature of raising a hand, applause, and thumbs up when needed on Zoom if required. Let's not use Zoom messaging in between the speeches unless it's required. If you're playing a role, no need to check whether we are audible or not. One of us will let us know if the sound is coming or breaking. Please ensure that all the role players have role name as prefix and real name as suffix to the username of the meeting. We have 10 seconds to check. All right. So today at Bright Beginning Toastmasters Club, we'll be doing a table topics marathon for which I'd like to invite Toastmaster Mayank to take it away. Over to you, Toastmaster Mayank.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Anshuman. How are you all feeling today?
Amazing.
Amazing. Great, excellent. And how are you feeling today, Aryan?
I'm feeling great.
So this is your second Toastmasters meeting. How do
Yes.
you feel about it?
I'm excited to see what will happen.
So Aryan is all geared up with his thinking hat. And today we are going to play a table topic session, but with a twist. We are going to leverage AI thanks to the tool Udly provided by Toastmasters International. And what I'm doing is joined from another PC, and I'll be sharing the screen from there. Yep. Okay. So what's going to happen in this game is that I have set up the time for this game as 2 minutes, and this tech is going to keep giving you questions, right? Okay. It needs access, audio access. I don't know. There's some challenge with this. I have to give access to it. I don't know why it's not getting access. Oh, because we are on a meeting here. Give me a moment, please. Okay, this is not working. This is not working. This is not working. Because AI needs inputs, and inputs need access to camera and microphone, which I do not give permission because of my data privacy, and hence this app is not working. Technology is a pain sometimes. It needs access everywhere, and I may not be in interest mood to resolve this glitch. I don't know how to resolve the glitch. So when something doesn't happen, it's very simple. Simply shut it off. Okay, I don't know what's happening. I just need to stop sharing once. Give me 10 seconds. Sorry, I'm so sorry for the glitch, Toastmaster Anshuman. Can you just resolve internally and discuss? Give me a moment, please.
Yes, sure. Maybe for the online audience, Aryan, do you want to introduce yourself? And that can be like a practice for the upcoming table topic session.
Okay. Hi, I'm Aryan. I've joined Toastmasters because I'm interested in public speaking. I want to try out how this works out. If this can help me become more confident, more comfortable with public speaking. I'm intimidated by audiences, so I decided that I would try out Toastmasters, and this is the closest club to my house, and it is like 25 minutes away. I have attended one meeting so far. It was last week, and it was pretty good, I would say. I liked my table topic prompt, and my speech was also pretty good. It was better than I would have expected. And so I'm here today to try out once again. and I'm
Since
interested in what's going to happen.
right, thank you for sharing. Since I missed that meeting, just curious, what was your table topic
My
and how
table
did you feel?
topic was how have the last 5 years transformed you? Have been transformative for you?
Okay, and how did you feel you performed in that?
I performed pretty well. I speak a little too fast, so I ran out of content just at the 1 minute mark. But otherwise, I think it was pretty good, and I did not really run out of stuff to say.
That's a good confidence to have. I remember my table topic was when life gives you a lemon, like make
Make
lemonade.
them
That
India.
was first table topic ever 5 years
Yes.
back. And I know I fumbled badly. I said, I think life gives you lemon, makes lemonade, and went into some tangent for like 20 seconds, then ran off the stage. So definitely, I think just practicing table and the confidence with which you have projected how you perform for the table topic is a reflection how quickly and how far you'll go if you practice consistently, and that is what we're going to do today. If Toastmaster Mayank is done with his tech formalities, Toastmaster Mayank, are you ready to gear up for some table topics?
I am ready, but the technology is still not.
So why don't we use other other technology, which is, let's say, chat gpt, to give us a topic for today morning.
Yeah, yeah, sure, we can do that.
Yeah, let me present the chat GPT screen, and we'll go around the table starting with Toastmaster Mayank, then Toastmaster, soon to be Toastmaster Aryan, and Toastmaster Anshuman. And once Toastmaster Mayank gives his speech, like I'll say Toastmaster for today, Toastmaster Aryan and Toastmaster Anshuman are going to give Toastmaster Mayank a candid feedback. And this is how the round robin table topic will go. Are you ready for your topic?
Yeah, give it 5 seconds.
Awesome.
Yep, I'm set. I'm all set.
All
I'm all
right.
set.
Awesome,
Yep.
man. The
Yep.
topic for you is, if you could have dinner with any historical figure, who would it be and why? If you could have dinner with any historical figure, who would it be and why, Toastmaster Mayank?
If I could have dinner with a historical figure, that's an interesting thought. Because if you look down to the history, you will see that most people were historians were poor, did not eat dinner, or had dinner in terms of bread or a roti with onions. And I'm seriously not in a mood to have one like that. But it would be nice to have a dinner with the Maharajas of Amir or one of the palaces in India, where they had a fancy dining table which could seat about 200 people at a go, a train where a table where you had a train running on as a serving master and going around the table, and you can pick and choose what you want from the table. It would be quite fancy to have that kind of a royal meal than the mediocre or average food that we go into a restaurant and have these days. So and dinner is not about just having the food. It is an experience of understanding their legacy, the challenges, um, and how what makes them that personality. For example, say a Maharaja of Amer or Udaipur. Udaipur still has some water, but Amer was like right next to Jaipur. So what systems and capabilities that they did to be able to feed a large population residing in such a water remote water location, right, and live a lavish life. How was it? And it would be quite daunting to understand this aspect of theirs, right? That what made them uh, what made them that extra. or recognition. What is it that they did different in their life and enjoyed those or be acclaimed as a historical figure. Back to you, Deepak. Shit, I did terrible.
Thanks a lot, Toastmaster Mayank. Now is the time for us to give feedback to Toastmaster Mayank. Quite spontaneous. Over to you, Toastmaster Aryan, to give quick feedback to Toastmaster Mayank.
I think it was a great attempt, but it was a great attempt, and you thought very spontaneously about what you were about to say. But the topic was not very rich in content that you might speak on it very spontaneously. But otherwise, I think it was a great attempt, and maybe it was a little repetitive. But I would say that the content wasn't there as much anyway, so it is understandable that you were uh, a little bit confused about what you should say.
All right. Toastmaster Mayank, if you could switch the camera facing you so that I could see both of you. Yes. uh, so from my end, I think you picked up a very interesting topic of having dinner with the Maharajas. That was a visually rich experience where I could envision myself sitting on a train having that royal buffet with the Maharajas, going around that atmosphere. And and at the same time you had the right vocal variety, the authority to assert. I think your voice over a period of time you have modulated and developed and has rich strength of communicating any message quite strongly. So that came out in your table topic. uh, to me it felt like a warm-up table topic where I've seen the richness of you flowing, dancing, smiling, uh, coming away. I think in the next table topic you may want to add that flavor uh, where the specificity is there to the topic. So since we are talking about one historical figure, maybe you could have picked up one Maharaja. Even it's difficult for me to pick up one Maharaja from India. I don't know any Maharajas, but maybe one from say Jaipur or Udaipur, and having dinner in Udaipur city center, city palace, in like, then you would have made it story visually rich that a elephant is coming, you and the Raja are coming parallelly, and there are instruments. Anshuman and Aryan are dancing in parallel. You could have,
The dancing.
but yeah, like I think sticking to just one figure and having troops around it of story and facts and anecdotes, that would have made it. But a great warm-up attempt. I'm sure, like as the meeting evolves, you'll be flowing with all richness. And there's some minor technical feedback. I think the camera placement has to be in the center. It was on the sideways, so that
Actually,
could.
the problem is that the laptop isn't working, and the
Oh,
iPad is continuously shifting the camera gaze depending on how many people are
okay.
looking.
Oh, that is it. Auto shift. Okay.
And I'm unable to turn it off or find it
And
off.
were you able to read my green, yellow, red charts?
Yes, we were able to do that. Thanks, otherwise I would have been really thinking how much more to say.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Toastmaster Aryan, are you ready for your table topic?
Yes, I'm ready for my table.
All right. Okay. So, Toastmaster Aryan, if you could instantly learn any skill or talent, what would it be and why? If you could instantly learn any new skill or talent, what would it be and why, Toastmaster Aryan?
If I could learn, if I could instantly learn any new skill or topic, I would learn the skill of how to learn anything fast. Because if I can learn anything fast, then really, if I spend enough time on learning something or the other, then I can learn anything, which is a very interesting premise to me that I can learn everything, learn anything, and know everything. And so, it becomes the case that if I'm ever confused about anything, if I'm ever having facing any problem, then if I'm just willing to invest my time into it, then I can learn the skills that I need to deal with it pretty fast and then deal with that problem, whatever it may be. And so that would be the skill that I want to learn, because once you learn how to learn by yourself, you can learn anything. One of the reasons that I really admire Elon Musk is that he has learned so much. He has learned aeronautical engineering in general, and he has made so many interesting inventions just by himself, which would shock us to think that only one man can do so much, that even huge companies like BMW or Volkswagen have not been able to create. He has created the electrical car. He has created rockets that can launch and then be reused, which even NASA or great countries which have very greatly developed space exploration programs have not been able to do. That is why I would like to learn how to learn anything very fast. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Toastmaster Aryan. I also put in the timings here. All right. Sure. So over to you, Toastmaster Mayank, for the feedback.
All right. So, to be Toastmaster Iron, you talked about an aspect which is contrary to what we gave you the feedback last time, that slow down. Okay. So, you talked about that, how to learn anything fast. I think that need to keep up to the pace, and the competition that you are in is clearly visible in that uh, in this generation, the competition that is available, or the extent of competition that is available, is really putting that pressure on you that you need to do everything fast, fast, fast. I think that was a good topic that you picked up. Second is that you gave a live example of Elon Musk and related at why you want to do that. So you had a statement and then you had an argument to support the statement, right? So which is nice, which is a good thing that you are backing up your claim with a person who's famous, known to everybody these days, at least in our community. I think that's a great statement, a way of convincing people of why you want to do something, why you don't want to do something. Great.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mayank. And soon to be Toastmaster Aryan. For a new Toastmaster, we usually limit feedback to 1 or 2 points specific. The purpose is that with Mayank and Anshuman, you can go brutal because they've taken a lot of feedback through the years at Toastmaster. But for the purpose of your table topic, we'll keep it simple. One, you have confidence in your body language and your uh, voice, which I'm sure you have articulated and developed over a period of time that reflects really well. So that's your strength. I think that will reflect that can you can play in your speeches for the long run. Where you can attempt for the next table topic is keep again going back to the point of specificity. This was broad and generic. Uh, Picking up one topic and building a story around it is helpful for the audience to connect with you. And for example, if you had picked up, say, rocket building skills, and with Elon Musk as the inspiration, then you're talking maybe about how Abdul Kalam built rockets in India and how you would like to build rockets quickly. That you become a rocket scientist today, and tomorrow you're building a rocket for a space mission for India. You're going to the space station. You have your set of scientists, so that can help paint a visual picture and bring things specific. Non-specificity keeps it very generic and facts-based, which is not visually engaging. So for me to get immersed in your story, I have to like start visualizing things and not keep things intellectual. Right now, it was intellectual. Yeah. So maybe next attempt, one maybe specific and building story or narrative around it. Cool. All right. So next is going to be me and Toastmaster Meng. Do you want to read the top table topic that comes? our way for me.
Sure. Okay.
All right. Let me. Um,
Toastmaster instrument. If you could live in any fictional universe from a book, movie, or TV show, which one would you choose and why? If you could live in any fictional universe book from a book, movie, or TV show, which one would you choose and why? Toastmaster instrument.
Movies take us to a parallel universe where we usually don't live. And I'm fortunate enough to live in a land of movies where we have plethora coming each year. And for me, the recent one was only yesterday, called the movie Surfira, a remake of a South Indian movie where the protagonist plays the role of the CEO of Deccan Airlines. So Deccan Airlines was a low cost airlines built with a lot of hard work, struggle, and facing a lot of capitalist pressure. So if I had to play a role, that would be that of Captain Gopinath, who built Deccan Airlines. When Captain Gopinath started Deccan Airlines, it was in a behemoth of capitalists, big capitalists, who were pressuring Captain Gopinath to move away from this industry. That how could you build a low cost airline, Captain Gopinath? It is not under your purview. He sold his family property, he loaned his family assets, and started to get a license for his airline. So, if I had to be Captain Gopinath, I'll also be that warrior who'll build the low cost airline for the lower strata population of India, where everyone could fly, that I could go to the airport, take someone from my maid, guide her to the airport, and make her fly to her hometown. And when I face those capitalist pressure, I'll use my intellectual prowess, whatever limited they are, to navigate the legal system, to navigate the forces that come my way, and crush them to ensure that I launch that airline, which is eventually successful. So, overall, in summary, if I had to be a protagonist, I'll be Captain Gopinath in the movie Surfira, who's navigating through the challenges, be it legal, capitalist, or political, to start a low cost airline. Thank you. Over to you, Tabletop Master.
Thank you. I request Aryan to give feedback to Toastmaster instrument.
I think it was a great premise. I think the idea was good as well. You thought on your feet and you were able to think of a good idea to talk about. I'm not very familiar with the movie that you mentioned, so I cannot comment on all of that. But I thought it was a good speech. You did try to create some imagery and try to knit together a narrative that would be interesting to the audience. And I think it was a great attempt.
And what can I do better in my next attempt?
There is nothing that I can think of right now, but I hope Toastmaster Man can give you some good advice on what you could do better next time.
So, Toastmaster Mayank, you can maybe talk about not so good side of things.
No worries. Toastmaster instrument, I request you to kindly share the screen of ChatGPT.
Feedback from your end, Toastmaster.
Yeah, yeah, I will do that. Okay.
All right.
Right. Now the topic was if you could live in any fictional universe, right? Which one would you choose and why? Now the word here was fictional universe, but what you talked about exactly was the opposite. You picked up a real life character, real life story in our Mother Earth, right? So here in the topic is important because probably something you could have picked up was say maybe something like Interstellar or maybe going back to the times of Ramayana and Mahabharata and saying that imagine having the power to jump one step and crossing the ocean. You could have gone anywhere and stretched it. So this thing, the topic is very important, man. Those master instrument to be able to give a right delivery on it. While you had a great energy, when you were speaking, right? And you talked about if if it was a movie review or which has inspired you the most, a movie that has inspired you the most. I think what you talked about would have been a commendable topic or response to the topic. So overall, my recommendation would be as to listen to the topic carefully. First time listen, second time reconfirm.
Fair enough. Thank you, Toastmaster Mayank. I hope all of us were able to learn from our first attempt and will incorporate that feedback in our second attempt to ensure that is our best attempt for the morning.
Right.
All right.
All right.
Toastmaster Mayank, are you ready for your topic?
I am ready for my topic.
Super. All right. Um, yeah. Okay. I'm trying to remove the spotlight access, but it's not coming. Anyhow. All right. So, if you were granted the ability to time travel, which era would you visit and what would you do there? If you're granted the ability to time travel, which era would you visit and what would you do there, Toastmaster Mayank?
India or Bharat was called the golden bird. If I had an opportunity to time travel, I would want to travel back into the time to understand what really my country was, which no history book has ever taught us in our schools, because our history books have been written by the colonials. Why is it that for everything the credit is given to an European and only after 1700s? Guess what? They discovered India, the route to India. They started flooding in, picking up our books and printing in their language. If I had to time travel, I would go back in the era where India was the golden bird and how people were moving around with gold, silver, no crime, and contributing to about 35% of global GDP. How there were cities, the process and systems were put in place, that the crime was almost negligible. How people traveled, flourished, how education flourished, and what is the significance of various rituals that we do and perform. There are so many in our religion, in Sanatan Dharma, which is the way of life, which is said. We do so many rituals saying that, oh, don't do this, oh, don't do that. But why? That intellect has been lost and killed over the 300 years of our colonial rule and post that. I would want to sit and interact with one of those learned rishis, right, to understand them practice and make rules for logic. Simple. It is said that you should not broom your house in the evening. It's inauspicious. But why would you say that? It was of a time when you did not have electricity and you were dependent on sunlight. And if you were to broom your house at late evening after sunset, the chances that you might be losing a valuable in the dustbin. Which time travel would you like to make? Thank you, and back to you, Master.
Thanks a lot, Toastmaster Mayank. Over to you, Toastmaster Aryan, for the feedback.
I would say that it was a very interesting premise. It was a great attempt, and it was an interesting idea to try to go back to the roots and try to connect with where India as a culture has arisen from, and to try to go back to when India was still the golden bird and not corrupted by colonialism. But it seemed that it was not specific enough and it was a little vague, just like my attempt before that there was not any concrete narrative being stitched together, that there wasn't anything concrete that you said you would want to try and do that I could experience in my own mind and think about. So that would be something that I would change with another attempt at the same.
Okay.
Back to you, Toastmaster Angela.
Thanks a lot, Toastmaster Aryan. Toastmaster Mayank, in this table topic, what you did great was go back to an era, talk about the systems, processes, cultures, rituals that you learn, want to learn from that era, will want to experience. And I could see you imagining that era and looking at the top list of uh, activities or rituals or culture aspects that you want to learn about. Uh, it was more specific than your earlier attempt. At the same time, I concur with the feedback that Toastmaster Aryan has given that for me as an audience, I will get invested in your narrative when you're painting a descriptive five sensory story for me. When you're putting words around how the colors were, how the sounds were, how the visuals were, how the movement, how what is the action that was taking place. So maybe you could have taken this one aspect of that era. For example, say if it was the festival of Holi, you want to see how Holi was celebrated in the era of Emperor Akbar. At Akbar times, he was like inclusive of all the cultures, and maybe all the Indian citizens were playing with gulal or with with floral attires, and the sound of uh, trumpets was blowing everywhere. So I think that would have made me go into a story, a narrative. Like the facts made me drop off after a while, to be honest. After say 1.5 minutes, when it was a checklist of facts, my short-term memory storage was somehow getting completed, and then it was like, okay, I have to actively listen. But I could not be invested and truly be in depth of what was being said. All right. For the next table topic, we have Toastmaster Aryan. All right, Toastmaster Aryan, here's the topic for you. If you could switch lives with any fictional character for a day, who would it be and why? If you could switch your life with any fictional character for a day, who would it be and why, Toastmaster Aryan?
If I could switch my life with any fictional character for a day, I would switch my life with Tony Stark because his life is so incredibly interesting and the incredible inventions that he makes and the incredible things that he experiences with his crazy suit is a very interesting thing that I would like to try one day. I would get to meet Spider-Man and I would get to meet all of the Avengers if I wanted to. And that is something that I always wanted to do. I would want to fly through the skies with his Iron Man suit and do all sorts of crazy stuff that he tends to continue doing with his crazy audacity to basically go against what anybody says. And it would be very interesting for me to be a part of the Avengers, if only for one day, because it is something that I've looked up to all my life, and I'm sure many others have as well. And Tony Stark is he is such an incredible character because of all that he creates, and his engineer mind tends to keep creating something or the other that is incredibly interesting, that is definitely worth trying. And I would want to see what ideas I could think of that I would want to create as well as an engineer with his interesting 3D table where he creates such interesting things. So I would want to look at what I could create uh, that could help me in my life and could change the whole world maybe. Thank you. That's all.
Thanks a lot, Toastmaster Aryan, for that wonderful table topic. Toastmaster Mayank, over to you for the feedback.
For Aryan, for his topic, I think he spoke well. He gave a character, a fictional character, built and talked about its life and how what you could do differently. Or you and obviously to meet other Avengers and try his suit and etc. Um, you could have taken that opportunity to when being in that character, not live the same life, but create something new out of that life. And imagine if Tony Shark could do X, Y, Z, something new. If I was Tony Shark, what else could I do? Right? Maybe solve a problem than being in the boundaries of Avengers they have created. The character is already been created. I think that fascination would have really shown the variety of your imagination, right? I think that's a feature. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Toastmaster Mayank. Plus one to that, I think the great part was you picked up a specific character right from the word go. You talked about how interesting you use word interesting a lot. So definitely the character is quite interesting for you. Um, you talked about the various facets of Tony Stark's life, how you would love to be part of the character, and um, how you'd use his superpower or whatever powers he has to say conquer the world. That's something great that we did. At the same time, I think it's a common theme emerging for like I think all of us is going into the specific aspects uh, of how Tony Stark functions. So, like instead of saying interesting things or interesting activities or interesting powers, it could be more specific. That I will build a suit for myself, which is going to be green in color, contrasting Tony Stark's red, and that green color will spew venom, which is going to encapsulate my entire enemy chain, and I'll swing them around, throw it to Tony Stark to just light the ball of fire and blast it all away. So being specific, and then I can just visualize. Okay, like Aryan is with green suit. He's doing this, is doing that. Interesting things is again a checklist. Anything checklist we want to avoid. Not that I'm like really good at it, but that's something a pattern that's emerging. I'll also try and attempt it in my table topic. But that's a common theme that's I think emerging in our group this morning. All right, I think we can conclude with my table topic. I'll just present my screen and Toastmaster Aaron, do you want to do the honors now?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so your table topic is if you could have any superpower for a week, what would it be and how would you use it? If you could have any superpower for a week, what would it be and how would you use it?
Superpowers. That is something we all imagine we had. Superpowers give us the ability to rise beyond our current self, rise beyond our challenges, and be someone or some being which we are not currently. And that feeling of being better than others or being having something different than others helps us we feel that power that we don't currently have. And for me, if I had that superpower, I'll I won't like to fly, I won't like to be invisible, but I'll still like to keep it practical. I like to have the superpower to lose weight as soon as I want it. In today's day and age, gaining weight is easy, but losing weight is a superpower very few are able to conquer. There are a set of professionals, be it psychologists, be it dietitians, be it nutritionists, be it doctors who are working collectively to solve this puzzle of why we are gaining weight. But if I could develop that superpower, that magic power, that I do this chanting, this mantra, and I lose my weight instantaneously, that would be quite something. And then my friends and family can say, "Oh, Anshuman, you were 90 kgs yesterday and today you're 50 kgs. How?" And I can say, "Guys, I have this superpower, which is only for me. Maybe I can try and develop it for all of you, but you'll have to give me $1 million for that." So that's a superpower that I like to develop right away. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster Aryan.
I think it was a great idea. It was very interesting, and I would not have imagined that that would have been the superpower that you chose. It was an interesting cultural issue that we're dealing with today that is very widespread. Um, I don't have any feedback for what you could have done differently, but I think it was a great attempt. I think it was an interesting idea, and you carried it out interesting. Over to Toastmaster man for the feedback.
Right. I think Toastmaster Anshuman, you nailed this topic. And this topic was something which is dear to everybody's heart, right? And that is the beauty of delivering an excellent table topic. When you are given a question, instead of playing it like a test match, you go and hit a six and like a T20 match, right? So you went for the home run. I would say that flipping the topic and really casting it out and talking about really taking it to a different tangent. I think it was a phenomenally great attempt on the topic. And since it was for a week, you could have thought about it. How do you make the most of it in a week's time for yourself and for the community or the world as a large, right? So don't give that solution only to
Yeah,
yourself. Give it to me as well. I need it the most.
thank you. Yes, I think for me, the typical ones came up was like invisibility and flying. I was like, if I that will be quite boring because, like, if we say stereotypical things, every like even I'll get zoomed out. I was like, okay, invisible do this, invisible do that. But yeah, like then I remembered my weight and then went to that trajectory. But
Yeah.
anyhow, I think we had the good utilization of time. And if we want to do, maybe we can do like a 10-minute or 15 minutes of group discussion if you're okay on a popular topic. Toastmasters, will that work?
Yeah, I'm just actually trying to think that if this one we have this guest today, right? If that meeting is still on, maybe let's join that one.
Sorry, which one?
This international table topic speaker, the one which Sumida has been sending.
That's at 4 p.m., right?
Hope you? I thought
Yeah,
it was
4 p.m.
11 a.m.
Would like to go ahead by thanking everybody, beginning with thanking distinguished Toastmaster Jennifer Bush. And it's difficult to say, Jennifer Bush, CTM, because we always call her Jenny D, Jenny Ma'am. And
Okay, this
it's
looks like another one.
Ma'am for us, Jenny D for us.
Sorry?
So I would like to start by thanking
This
her.
is.
I think when I began my journey about 8 years ago in Toastmasters, and she was then first
Sorry, if you could mute for a while.
at my club at that time, and I
As in, like, so Toastmasters, just want to check. There's another one at 4 p.m. I think this is another one.
Yeah, so I'm looking at this food straight meeting. It was from 11 to 12:30.
Got it. Got it. Oh, got it. Yeah, that's like the full meeting, right? 11 to 12:31.
Right,
There's
so
another PQD training with the champions at 4.
training with the champions at 4. Can you share the photo?
That's from Sahil, right? The one guy who won the
Acha,
Orissa.
no. This one is food straight. He was a table topic winner or something like that. He was
Got
the
Yeah, like
He was a
do you want to do that or should we do like a quick group discussion and then switch to that separately?
We can continue with the group discussion
Right.
because this meeting I don't understand what's happening there.
Got it. Fair enough. That's like a candid video. All right. Maybe we can start. Like it's kind of like a podcast or like a group discussion where all of us can share our thoughts on the topic of, say, growing as a speaker, right? All of us are in different aspects of our journey. We can maybe talk about how we have come to the place where we are today and how we want to go into the future and what are the potential options available for us to enter into that future. For example, say getting onto the stage, practicing is what helped you become the speaker you are today. And these are the potential actions you feel will help you become the speaker you desire tomorrow. Does that resonate with us? Does that topic work for us? Do you want to take a stab at that?
Can you repeat and then let's get into a conversation?
So I'll keep it simple. First of all, what has made you the speaker you are today? Like whatever strengths you have today, how did you develop it? I know you're from a consulting and chartered accountancy background. You have been exposed to the best of the minds on the table and have been in high stressful and pressure situations where you have had to deliver messages which were important. So, who helped you become the person you are today? Was it just self coaching? Did you have mentors? Did you watch any like videos, shows to just copy, learn, or was it just natural talent?
So I'll tell you about my life was my management. When I was in grade 4, we moved to Dubai, and my grammar or spoken English was terrible to the extent when I went to the class and my first day of my school in Dubai, I moved from Calcutta, and the teacher said, "Give your introduction," and I said, uh, "I have three daughters." Oh no, no, sister, because we have never been practiced or oriented to speak in English at our times in Calcutta, where I was earlier in my life. That whether should it be daughter or sister, that kind of a distinction was not there. The vocabulary was very, very poor. Whereas, and my sister, my elder sister, she made friends instantly. She was in grade 11, and she made friends instantly, and she would be on phone chatting with them right day and night, right? And I was never on phone because I couldn't communicate in English with people, and their English was a basic language. In grade 5, after 1 year of struggle, I had developed friends who were speaking Hindi also, but I had picked up speaking English. Right, I tried learned how to communicate now in English. 1 year of consistent feedback and discussion with people, or fixing up my grammar. I have never read Remy Martin, Red and Martin, whatever it is. Sorry, Remy Martin is risky. Sorry. So you can imagine, right? So I've never read Red and Martin. My grammar rules have always been poor. But for me, one rule was standard. When you speak, it sounds abrupt, means there is a problem with the language, words chosen or language. And that's how. And when I came down to, after 2 years, when I came down to go to Noida, I was one of the best spoken child in English. I'm like, really? वहाँ कोई घास नहीं डालता था, right? And my sister said that yes, man, in the last 1 year, when I was in grade 5, you were always hooked on the phone because there, while in India it was expensive, their local calls were free, right? In Dubai, local calls were free from the local landline connection at that time. So I think it was that sheer and practice makes important. In my CA journey, it was CA journey is mostly to do with in-house studies, self-study program. But when I did my articleship, when you try with people from you go to a manufacturing setup, so you will try with a security guard also, you will interact with a production foreman also, a supervisor, and to the CEO in the factory also, right? So there, that communication was there, and in India, mostly people will interact with you in Hindi, right? Nobody interacts in English. And if you travel abroad, you will even shift from English to basic sign language. So people said, oh, I have to travel, and if I travel, my communication skills will improve. But I'll tell you, they will go back to the stone ages of talking, water, where's washroom, toilet, you will try. So your grammar actually breaks unless you are traveling to UK or probably US. These are the two countries. Otherwise, everywhere your grammar and language will go for a heavy toss, right? And even when I was in consulting, I would go and speak with the CEOs and CFOs and leadership and present in audit committee and board meetings. Your supervisor or manager is not gonna correct you because they themselves have been in your life or in your same kind of shoes. They don't know what is the right way and what is right and what is wrong. When I attended my first Toastmaster meeting in PwC about 8 years ago, and after that meeting, I realized I am still zero in my communication. There are n number of those fillers that were there. It's only with last 3 years, 4 years of with Toastmasters and that practice, I have been able to evolve.
Wow, thank you for sharing Toastmasters, man. I think this was 100 times more descriptive than your table topics to begin with. Because I was able to visualize anything and everything I was saying. So I think you can incorporate all the elements you shared right now in your table topics also. So my learning from what you shared was one, I think the environment matters a lot. For example, you shared that in Dubai, when you're speaking with your peers or whoever was required, you felt that your communication skills or English skills were average. But in India, just because of your practice in Dubai, they became much more advanced. So it's a matter of environment. But once you switch your environment to talking to CEOs or CXOs, you found that there were gaps in your skills which can be honed, which maybe you did not develop in Dubai. And that's a very interesting aspect. For example, I can correlate it to my table tennis practice. So when I was playing table tennis in my company, my skills were pretty average. I just took like 1 month of coaching, and the guy made me do a lot of drills. I became better at it. When I came back to my company and started doing playing table tennis, automatically I was much evolved in terms of skills. While with my coach, I was average, but my skills became advanced. Maybe this exposure to an environment which is more competitive, like Toastmasters, and developing or honing your skills, being amongst the best. I think that can be quite helpful. Is one of my biggest takeaways from your uh, sharing of experience right now. Toastmaster Aryan, what I observe about you is your confidence and clarity in your voice, which if you visit a lot of Toastmasters clubs and community, it's not easy to develop. Maybe it's something that you worked on or it's natural to you. We'd love to know your journey of how you landed here and your rough plan of where you want to be in the future and how you plan to develop that.
I would say that I have experienced something similar to what Toastmaster Mayank mentioned, which is that when you're not exposed to English from a very young age and when you're only watching content in Hindi and all your friends and your family you speak to in Hindi, you're not very familiar with the English language. And so when you find yourself in a situation, in a school situation or a college situation where you have to present in English, usually it becomes that everybody is very stiff and we're just presenting as, hi, I am Aryan, this is my topic and this is what I'm talking about today. And we become very corporate and we become very stiff. We're not familiar with it. But I have found that if I expose myself more to what I know I'm not familiar with, then I am it is more or less inevitable that I will improve. And so if I'm consuming more English content or finding more friends who I speak to only in English or putting myself in Toastmaster situations where I have to think in English and speak in English on the spot with only like 10 seconds to think about what I have to speak about, then I find that it is more or less inevitable that I will have to improve whatever I'm trying to do. It is like I'm pushing myself in a situation that I'm not comfortable with. But if I'm exposed to that situation for long enough, then it is more or less inevitable that I will become comfortable with that situation and I will become confident and I will become articulate and I will be able to speak on whatever it is that I have been given the prompt for. And so for now, it is my intention that I will keep attending these Toastmasters classes and I will, start giving prepared speeches and continue to work on the table topics so that I can continue to improve with my confidence and my clarity.
Right. Thank you for sharing. And just to be specific, what has brought you here? Have you did you consciously work on your speech that you've developed till date, on your confidence? What are the practices you have taken? Have they been subconscious, or have you consciously worked on developing the persona that you have today?
To a great extent, I would say that it has been conscious because sometimes when I'm scared of the camera, I'm scared to speak to the camera. So sometimes when I'm bored, I begin recording a video on my phone and I just begin speaking on whatever my train of thought is. And so I try to keep it like I'm speaking clearly and I'm speaking articulately and I'm not going off on random tangents. And so partly it is because of that I can speak confidently and I'm not as self-conscious as I would be if this was my first attempt at speaking to an audience. So when you're talking to a camera, it is sort of like you're speaking to an audience because you don't know who's going to be watching that video sometime in the future. And so in the beginning, it is a very big boulder that you have to walk over, that you have to overcome because you're going to be scared both of talking to a big audience and of talking to the camera. And if you can overcome one of those, then overcoming the other becomes much easier. Before I used to be very conscious, and I think talking to the camera has been a great step for me, and that is partly why I am so confident, even though I'm just starting out right now.
Fantastic. I think that's a great learning and takeaway. Uh, that recording yourself is one of the best tools to self-analyze and see where we are landing. Just a last question on that one is, how do you self-correct yourself? For example, you record yourself, then what is your internal talk after you see your recording? Do you give yourself feedback? Are you positive with yourself? Are you negative with yourself? And how do you correct any gaps that you see?
I haven't taken many conscious steps to try to improve my camera presence, but I would say that if I'm just exposing myself to that situation again and again, then in the beginning it is going to be more or less it is going to be the case that I'm going to be very stiff and I'm going to be conscious. But if I have been speaking to the camera for hours on it, and it has been weeks, and I speak to the camera every day, then over weeks and over months, it usually becomes the case that I'm more comfortable with it. So it is not really even necessary for me to give myself feedback or to see what I did wrong. But usually that is also the case that I go back and I watch myself and I'm like, oh no, that was so bad. That I did that wrong. I should not have said that. I should have gone on gone on this topic rather than that random tangent. And so over time, your skill of speaking and speaking on the spot, especially, become more and more curated, and it is more or less like an instinct is being formed. And so even if you transfer that instinct from speaking on camera to speaking in front of an audience, then it seems that that skill transfers as well.
Amazing, fantastic. I think we've had two key learnings right now, and I'm kind of acting like a moderator, but I can share my quick bite around this topic too, especially rotating or pivoting around Toastmasters. Is as you mentioned, Toastmaster Aryan and Toastmaster Mayank, like the boring aspect of practice. I think Toastmasters as a community has provided me a platform to automatically practice every week, come what may, even in this group discussion table topics. And a topic we haven't talked about is mentorship, of mentoring and being a mentee both. For me, mentoring after I think 2 3 years at Toastmasters, when I developed basic enough skills to understand what are the key gaps in my speech, how I can develop it through my mentor, speaking around say 100 table topics or giving 20 speeches. I realized that this is a framework for a good speech, that it should have vocal variety, it should have descriptive words, it should have specific message, it should have like eye contact, body language. Then as I started mentoring too, one, I became more responsible, that if I'm mentoring, then obviously I have to demonstrate it, else my mentees will feel that's a stupid learning that I'm sharing, it's just theory. So that's, I think that's something that's offered to all of us within Toastmasters, that once we are mentored and when we become mentors, teaching leads to learning. And I think that's part of any aspect, even in corporate life. So that's really helped me at least be where I am today. And second aspect of where I want to be is definitely from a pronunciation standpoint, I have to really work on my diction and pronunciation. Uh, which still, I think the Indian accent still feels natural to me. But I have been working with global stakeholders for almost 2 3 years, 4 years now, where I still feel my natural self being with my Indian accent. But somewhere down the line, I like to experiment with, say, a global English language and global pronunciation, which is, say, accent neutral. That's something I haven't worked on, and I haven't had the fortune of staying in Dubai or staying in an exotic place for a period of time. But I don't think that's going to happen. But still, sitting in Noida and developing my skills, I think that's something I like to experiment down the line. I don't know how, but I'm sure I'm going to do that. All right. I hope that was a productive morning for all of us. Quite unexpected. Thank you, Toastmaster Aryan, soon to be Toastmaster Aryan, for joining. You brought the richness in us practicing in this Toastmaster morning. Else Toastmaster Mayank and I were just pondering of what to do with the morning. So thank you for joining and practicing with all of us. Any last parting thoughts from your end, Toastmaster Aryan and Toastmaster Mayank, and we can then call it a day.
None from my side. I would say it was a great meeting, and I'm looking forward to being back here next week.
Amazing. Thanks a lot for joining.
Two quotes, two quotes or statements that I want to share. One is, you will become the average of the five people you interact with often. So, and thinking and applying that, when I was in Dubai, I would have become average of the five people with whom I was interacting there, and hence my communication skills went up. Public English language, spoken English language moved up. I would say not public speaking, but spoken English language. And when I came to Noida, again, mine was high, but the other crowd was probably not speaking and had to also not anybody speaking. So they would have gone down. And when I came to Toastmasters and sitting and interacting with you, Anshuman and Pratik and Nisha that time, again those levels moved up the enhanced, right? And hence for me the next destination would be probably in some time move to an advanced Toastmaster club so that I can up the game altogether because I'm feeling little comfortable in this setting. Another is what the sheikhs of Dubai generally say, that if I am the smartest guy in the room, I leave that room immediately because I am not gaining anything from that meeting.
Interesting.
So
But you are contributing and you're learning from metacognition by learning through teaching.
yes, but then if I'm only teaching, I'm only giving and not necessarily taking. So to enhance my skills, I mean, I'm talking about a normal government, not as mine as one, but so to enhance the skills, I have to move up or shift to a different room or change the gathering that I am. Because otherwise, I will become the average of the 5 people who are sitting here.
Makes sense. Cool. Thank you.
Cool. Perfect. Thanks, Anjuman. I'll catch up with you sometime later. Yeah.
Done.